everybody, it's Wuzzup time. I'm Larry Seidlinger. He is Bobby Ware. We got the old Pro Days friends behind the camera, and it's Wuzzup time, Bobby. Hey, folks, it's now, we all thought it's Nostalgia November, and we've done, what have we done already? We've done the Rock City Rollers.
Yeah.
And last week, what did we do last week?
We did Watershed.
Watershed, and then this week we're going to do the Bird Show.
Yeah.
Bobby, years ago, he and Kit went over to a falconry, and tell us a little bit of something.
I heard about this guy, Larry Barnes, who's now a realtor, and local realtor. And anyway, they said he was a falconer, and I said, a falconer? And he says, yeah, there's a hobby called falconry. So we found him, and we went out, and sure enough, he had these pet falcons that he could, he sends them out, and they go and they attack birds in midair, and they do their natural thing. So anyway, we're gonna put that on. I still can't believe some of the things we used to find around here.
Cool
you gotta go, you go looking, you find it. And so anyway, so this week we're gonna show Larry Barnes and his falcon. He's got a couple of them, and so.
Is he still doing that, Bobby?
I don't know. I'm going to call him today, and I'm going to actually tell him that it's on tonight. So, anyway, let's hope you enjoy it. But
that will be coming up right after this show today, folks.
Yep.
So we'll try to, if you can just kind of hang on here a little bit and get through the first 30 minutes of this Wuzzup, the best 30 minutes. Next 30 minutes will be the best.
And it was a few years ago, long before this COVID mess.
Oh yeah.
And we got COVID stuff. I was saying to Larry off camera, Jim Donovan was on the Portland News this morning talking about small town hospitals preparedness that they need to have, and he says we're pretty good, but I saw an interview with a woman in Minnesota, and there's hospitals in northern Minnesota that actually have 15 nurses total.
Yeah.
And 7 of them were out with COVID.
Well, with COVID, yeah.
So
if you want to go back, folks, last week we had Jim Donovan here on LCTV, and he did a nice talk about everything that's going on at the hospital and the finances and whatnot. It was really interesting.
Yeah, right on video on demand, you can.
Yeah, it's right on our archives, video on demand, and it was a great, but just a 10-minute clip or so, and very informative. Mr. Donovan, true gentleman, and really.
Well, we had a bridge dedication in Dresden, but
it's only 65 years later after they built it.
Between the two of us, it's been 65 years since they dedicated it the last time. But between the two of us, we read this article, and we cannot figure out what the name of the bridge is.
No.
It still has no name. So maybe the bridge with no name.
The Veterans Memorial Bridge, I think, is what the name of it is, yes, Bobby. Veterans Memorial Bridge.
Yep.
It goes over Route 128 in the Eastern River.
Yeah, we'll go with that. And so the other thing is, this is interesting, this community navigator. Do you see that?
Well, we're actually going to do a story on this, Bobby.
Very interesting.
Yeah, they partnered with the Y. I think Casey Clark Kelly down to the executive director down at the Y, and Julie Kaiser, along with Karen Ann Hager, I believe, is involved in it. Yep. And Karen Ann actually is going to be the one that, and basically that's a navigator. Somebody comes into the town, or somebody has a situation they just don't know where to turn.
They have a live person in the office, and a family can come in, a family head or a whole family can come in and talk, and this person will navigate them with the different resources that they need.
And they do all kinds of stuff, from helping families get a better bank rate to food, insecurities and all kinds of different things. Doctors and hospitals, and it's pretty. Booth-based had it. It's been very successful down there, and so good luck to them. But we are going to sit down with Casey Clark Kelly and Julie Kaiser and have a chat next week, I believe, on that whole deal. So, but COVID is the topic here this week at the Lincoln County News. I mean, county doubles the weekly record of COVID-19 cases, and 3 more at the Cove's Edge employees tested positive. Whitefield's got a break out there. So this is maybe that little surge that we thought we were going to get in early summertime, and they still say I hate to be the giver of bearer of bad news, but maybe some darker days are coming, Bobby.
The other thing on the front page is I want to give a shout out for our friend up in Waldeboro, Ray Perkins. There's a picture of him. He was in World War II at Camp McGill in Japan, and I'm linking some stuff together. Ray was very instrumental. He basically set up a fireworks ordinance in Waldeboro.
He did.
Fireworks are banned in Waldeboro.
They are.
And I'm thinking, because of his service to our country, that he might have had a little PTSD.
Maybe.
And those fireworks would probably bother him to no end. So anyway, I'm not projecting a little bit, but anyway, so I want to thank Ray for his service.
Another fellow over there in Waldeboro did a good job is Lou Cook, retired teacher from Madomic Valley, and he's recently retired manager of the Waldeboro Food Pantry.
And
he got the Spirit of America Award.
And the food pantry just moved to a new space, a much bigger space. And according to Lou in here, he says they're much better off than they were. He said it was kind of tough at the beginning, but he's going to take some time off, and I don't know. I think Lou he'll keep his fingers in something, I think. But anyway, our first recreational cannabis shop, Big Dave Page, the owner, is he's open.
He's open for business. And a little problem getting product, but Big Dave, used to own the convenience store there, Big Dave's, and I really thought. Did you read that article, Bobby, and see how he got his name, Big Dave?
Yeah.
Muddy Waters. He was playing. Was it Muddy? I think it was Muddy Waters. He was playing because Big Dave played the drums forever up at Montville. There used to be a barn up there. They used to have music and whatnot. And Muddy played up there, and he said, "You're a big man." He said, "Oh, what's your name?" He said, "Dave." Big Dave, he called him.
That was it.
Good. That's how it stuck. Yeah.
The Newcastle's jumping on the broadband bandwagon.
Well,
like
they got
every
it,
other
Bob.
town.
Every town in this area needs to be jumping on it.
Yeah. So anyway, they've got a committee set up, and they're going to be going after grants, and so they'll connect Maine Authority, and they'll be pursuing that. Split Rock. How about this?
They got a $70,000 grant.
Yeah, because of making hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So they've had to revamp their business, but one of the major a fermenter, and they have to. That's to make their spirits, but they only had one, so now they're going to buy another one.
Now they're going to have two, so they can do both at the same time.
So anyway,
how about the COVID interrupted the work down the
there was
parking lot?
Two cases were reported from the company that's doing the parking lot back there is Chase Excavation, and actually Leanna from the Great Salt Bay Sewer District, she had to get tested because she was
near them.
Yeah, she was near one of the guys, and so anyway, she felt like she needed to get tested. I think she's fine, and so we had a life flight accident on River Road.
Yeah.
This gal, this Newcastle woman, Laurel Patton, she went off the road in Newcastle, River Road, hit a tree, and so.
I wonder if there was some kind of a medical, because it didn't say what
Well, let me tell you, I've been on that road recently, and there's a lot of deer running across that road.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Wiscasset, they're doing the Market Fest over there. The holiday shopping started over there. They've got the town starting to decorate it up.
Newcastle, of course, they voted in their core zoning, and so they're going to get to work on that and try to educate everybody on what it's about.
And I believe there's a meeting tonight, Bobby, another meeting on this core zone. That passed. That was a really, really close vote.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people not very happy with it.
Yeah, well,
I don't know all the particulars
of it. It was a close vote, but it went through,
it went through.
It started, they were talking about it, and next thing you know, they're voting on it, and like you said, close vote.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like our presidential election.
How about the guy over there, Greg McAllister? He won $3.2 million in the mega bucks.
Boy, I wonder if he's going to continue to tend bar.
I don't know.
He's a bartender over at Sarah's over there, and
he's been playing the same numbers for, I didn't say how many years, for years.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, he says he's still going to run. He's still going to run the bar.
Yeah. Wiscasset's gearing up over there for their holiday
their
Market Fest.
Extravaganza.
The boy, a lot of energy going on over there. Yeah. How about this Madomic Valley graduate? Yarmouth School Department Superintendent Andrew Dollar.
Yeah, I know Andrew.
Andrew.
Haven't seen him for years.
Yeah, well, he's been down being a superintendent
Scarborough.
down in Falmouth.
Well, his dad was Ron Dolph, that was longtime principal in Don Valley.
Yeah.
Real gentleman.
Well,
and,
he's got the genes because
yeah.
he was just named. I mean, superintendent of the year is pretty.
And his sister's the
prestigious.
principal over in Don Valley now.
Jeez,
Linda. Yeah.
Boy, that's an education family.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So Waldoboro, for some reason, is seeing a drop in requests for general assistance, and
Well, that's a good thing because that
yes,
means that people are having a good year over there.
yep.
Or either they're falling through the cracks when the
Or the things like the food pantry and assistance like that is
Maybe.
being effective,
that may be.
working. So we got a veteran, some nice photos. That BZ Cameron, she's a busy girl with that camera.
She is. She's very busy. She get all the pictures of that Veterans Day deal.
Yeah, Rick Newell has decided to hang it up. He does not want to be county treasurer anymore because he just accepted his pastor job down in Bremen, and I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But he's got somebody all lined up. He says,
Yeah, his right-hand lady there.
yeah, Michelle Richardson, and Rick says you couldn't have a better person to take over for me.
Well, that's good to hear for the county. Yeah.
First,
Boy, Edgecombe over there, the Skip Cahill's tire
Yeah.
is going to close. Just they got too much going on.
yeah.
I think since they lost their gas pumps there, the business has quieted down a lot.
So our friend Jeff Spinney up there in Alna, he's
Going back
at
for
it.
another idea.
He's back at it. So anyway, so he's talking about. I guess the big deal was the fact that he was going to have a boat launch. People are going to be able to launch boats there. So Jeff's come up with this. I'm not going to use the word cockamamie, but I'm going to use it. The cockamamie idea, but he's going to have this big, huge roll-out aluminum ramp that rolls out and that he can pull in and out, and it's called a temporary roadway. So they're going to talk.
We'll see a story in the paper about that in a week or two.
Yep.
Haley Bryant, she's going to be all over that.
Now, Haley, you better follow up on this now. You got a temporary roadway subject going on up there in Alden, Maine.
What RSU 12, they're going to play high school basketball. They're going to play basketball.
Yeah.
Now, but what
Who
towns?
are they going to play?
What towns were there? Windsor? I guess
Yeah.
Windsor was part of it.
Westport's, they're talking to broadband people, so
Every town in the area needs to be talking to these broadband people because you're going to need it. I like JW's editorial this week talking about the split tickets and voting for the best person rather than a straight party line.
yeah. There was a this was a pretty beautifully done letter. This Colleen Speed Motley, she lives in Toronto, Canada now, but Jenny Ward and Neil Ward took her in. She was from Barbados, and she went to Lincoln Academy, and she talks a little bit about what a great life she had with them. And she probably washed a few dishes up at the Pine Grove,
I
too.
would imagine so.
Yeah. So the boy, Chadbourne was pretty busy. That's quite a
picture, isn't it?
That's quite a complicated sketch you got there, Glenn.
Yeah, good stuff. How about the over in Wiscasset? There's two people who stole that $28,000 from the Wiscasset.
Well, they had
Former Circle K.
pretty good scheme going. They took the money, and then the girl came in as a customer. It sounds like the girl came in as a customer. They handed her the money, and that went on for God knows how long. And Larry writes that's pretty close to a biography of your mother.
It was. Yeah, that brings back a lot of memories.
As I was reading the article, I said, well, he's probably talking about some other subjects, but I kept reading and it was all about your mother.
That was, when Commander Perkins, I couldn't remember when I wrote the thing, I couldn't remember. Commander Perkins, who was the commander of Soup Ship over there, he adored my mother. Because she always had her ducks in a row and the I's dotted, the T's crossed, but he adored her. And after she retired and he retired, he sent her flowers every year for secretary. But when we put that over on her, the balloon guy, I don't know, Bobby, if you were around here back then, but there used to be somebody dressed up as a clown, and he'd go to different offices. You would call him, he'd hire him, and he'd bring balloons and flowers to the birthday person.
Yeah.
And Ma didn't like surprises. And oh my God, what a riot! And she held Commander Perkins responsible for that for years afterwards. And that at her retirement party, that was a hoot. That was a hoot. So fun stuff. Fun stuff.
Wiscasset had their early bird sale last Saturday, the 14th. We're going to talk a little bit about the drive-in. The drive-in's going to be up at Rennie's.
Okay, let's get into that. The drive-in is going to be up to Rennie's warehouse.
Because of the construction in the back parking lot.
Right, and they're going to have a special guest from the North Pole. That's all we'll say. We won't tell you who it was, but we will tell you it's from the North Pole. He's going to have a little talk there beforehand and on the big screen. And the other thing is, folks, the chamber needs some help. Anybody wants to donate to buy a Christmas tree for the lights downtown and whatnot, just call Lisa down at the chamber. Donate. They're accepting whatever donations to help pay for these trees, because like everything else, nobody's got any money this year. But these trees are important to our community to just kind of lift the load a little bit and get the spirits picked up here.
That's nice. It's nice when you drive down there and it just lights you up emotionally.
Yeah,
to see all the trees.
I think it's. I was talking to a business owner last night, and we said, I'm gonna donate one. He's gonna donate one. I don't know what they asked, $30, $50, or whatever the heck they are, but just call Lisa down the chamber and make your donation. Buy a Christmas tree for the town. That'd be a good thing.
So our Newcastle contractors, Andrew Lee, he got into
an honest mistake.
Yeah,
if there's such a thing as an honest mistake. That truly was.
He was supposed to be 85 feet from the center line of the road with an addition on a home, but it turned out he was 74 feet. He went into the Jefferson Selectmen and he said, "I made a mistake." So,
but all they did was pass the buck to the building committee.
Of course they did. No, they passed it to the Board of Appeals.
Board of Appeals, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the way. Well, that's the process. But hopefully, they'll just trust him. What's Money Mules? What is this? Money Mules. I don't know what it is.
Oh, that's when, isn't that scam? People calling up and asking you to deposit money. I don't know exactly what it was.
Yeah, your grandson.
It's a scammer.
Your grandson's in prison. Or
yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I know somebody who paid it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, Kenny Lincoln and his brother, Todd Lincoln, and Donna Plummer, they've been smoking herring down at the S Road. There's a 90-year-old smokehouse down there. They've been smoking herring just like they did back in the old days. And so he told
Henry Jones started smoking herring
down
there.
You know Henry?
Yeah.
Then you got this is interesting. At the Vos Library. The Vos Library is in Union, and so anyway, you can go, and they're going to have a Zoom call at 6 p.m. on December 2nd, and it's about Peyton Place.
Yeah.
And the book Peyton Place, and then they had a show Peyton Place, and the movie Peyton Place was supposedly taking place in Camden, Maine.
Well, yeah, there was some shots out of that Camden, Maine thing. One thing I want to shout out, we lost Fonda York here last week. Yeah.
Yep.
God bless her. What a dear soul she was.
A tireless volunteer for
Mobius and all those. The original board of Mobius.
Special Olympics.
Yeah.
And I think she was tirelessly volunteering from Special Olympics.
And don't forget, you can get your Christmas trees up to the Wells Hussey Post.
Yeah, if you want to buy a Christmas tree.
They're good trees, too,
and
folks.
They're
really good trees.
They're $20, and they can't beat that. I mean, Christmas trees can get much more expensive than $20, and you're going to be donating to a nice cause.
That starts next Saturday, I guess.
And the Lincoln County Sheriff deputy has got a community service award from Todd Brackett, and that was James Reed. I know James, and James is a dedicated police officer. I can tell you that. And then we had a unfortunate
tragic accident over there at the Atlantic.
I'm thinking now from what I'm gathering with this accident over at Atlantic Motor Cars was the garage door opened and pushed the staging over.
Yeah, one of those big scissor lifts.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if the thing came down on top of him or what, but
but he died, and they did everything there. They according to Bruce, the owner there, they did everything they could.
God, what a tragic thing to have happen at your business.
And Dutch Neck Community Club, you want to get the best pies in the world, and this chocolate cream caught my eye, and so did key lime and very berry.
Any one of the three will work.
Yeah.
Any one of the three will work. Yeah. There is a little sports going on. Paula talked about the Madomic Valley runners. Daigle and Parent both finished undefeated. Connor Daigle and Olivia Parent.
They're stripping up tiles down there at the Bristol Historical Society. But Bobby Ives, come on, Bob, you're going to hurt yourself. Man. Stripping tiles, that's no easy job. And the repairs down at the Round Pond boat launch are complete. It's been quite a while, and they said that Hanley Construction was very instrumental in getting the work done. But they said it was all about permits.
Yep.
They said the permits.
Big surprise.
The permit issue is killing them.
Big surprise.
Yeah. The other thing we didn't talk about was there's more kids in Bristol now than ever before.
And they're running out of space down there.
And so anyway, they're talking about putting an addition on the school.
Yeah.
And so anyway, there's a picture here of a tent that they got, which won't be much good for today. It wouldn't be much good, but anyway.
A little chilly out there today, I'm afraid.
Yeah, they are.
But speaking of tents, up to Montessori School up there in Noblesboro,
Yeah.
they built a 50-foot deck out there.
I saw it.
They'll call it a learning deck where kids can go out.
How about these two Madomic runners?
They're both undefeated for the year.
Yeah.
Just talking about
Junior
that.
Connor Daigle and another runner, Madomic Valley runner, Olivia Parent. They finished their cross-country season undefeated. That's quite a feat.
Yeah.
And Mid-Coast Equestrian Team, they traveled to Rollinsford, New Hampshire. Never heard of it. And they picked up another win. So.
Yeah.
We got a Mid-Coast Conservancy. They always have a cross-country ski clinic. They're having a ski clinic, and it's going to start January 9th, and it's going to run to February 13th. That includes you can rent skis. I think if you can't afford them, they let you use the skis.
What else? We charged us. Did you see that up there? The Lincoln Sheriffs, they charged a guy with animal cruelty for shooting the other guy's dog.
Yeah, but that was
more to the story there.
That was a bad day for two guys.
It was.
First of all, how much time we got left? First of all, there was a bulldog, and the guy shot the bulldog.
Yeah.
And so then the owner of the bulldog called the police. The police came. They saw that the guy shot the bulldog. Then they took the bulldog back to the guy, and there were two more dogs. So they got the guy who shot the dog with animal cruelty, and they got the owners of the dogs, plural, with dogs at large.
Yeah. It wasn't a good day at all. And how about these two people here, the Ben and Emily Davis?
Yeah, well, they got this pod business, where they can.
What a great idea to make these pods into.
They can, you can do anything with them.
Yeah.
But the question of the day is, how do you pronounce this stained glass artist's last name? Dana Barsdorf. That's
pretty close. We'll let you.
We'll go with Barsdorf. And so
he's got some Santa Claus whiskers there too, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So luckily, we got real Santa coming to Lincoln County, so we don't need him.
He'll be here next Friday night.
Rising Tide, they gave a $500 gift sponsorship to the Veggies to Table program. We got a new doctor.
New doc, Dr. Ryan Donahue.
Ryan looks like a kid.
He does.
Ryan's a young kid. But anyway, he's going to be
Rockland County, New York.
Yeah, he's going to be a new pediatrician at Lincoln.
I didn't realize he did his residency here.
In Maine.
Yeah, right here in Damascus.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's joined the Lincoln Medical Partners, and we're going to be interviewing here. We've interviewed Dr. Russ and Dr. Fox today, so we'll be talking.
But speaking
if
of
you
Lincoln,
check that out, you'll be talking about.
Speaking of Lincoln Health, their food service director, a guy by the name of Tom Schwartz, he's got a big time award, which was Van Winkle Excellence in Healthcare Award.
And you know that before this COVID came, I was down there like every day for breakfast or every other day for breakfast. It was great breakfast, didn't cost too much. And the American Legion, they're posting the honors for the veterans. That was a cool deal.
How about Calvin's doll? You like that?
Yeah.
Naughty Nellie?
Naughty Nellie.
Naughty Nellie. I wonder how many pairs of boots Naughty Nellie has pulled out.
I don't know.
It's a boot jack, what it is.
I don't know. Dog obedience class at the CLC YMCA coming up. Geez, we're down about out of time here, Bobby. We're getting down to about a minute.
We want to, congratulations again to Chloe Maxman, and she's going to have a Zoom virtual campaign celebration in Friday, November 20th.
And then we're also
tomorrow.
Chloe's going to be on next week after next. We're going to have Chloe on Community Conversations with Marva.
Nice.
Talk about her winning strategies.
Right. And Damascus Historical Society, they're following up the Waldeboro Historical Society because they're jealous because they're getting so much press. But this one is who, what, when, and where. Waldeboro Historical Society has what is it, but Damascus Historical Society has who, what, when, and where, and they got a little graveyard. And you know where it is?
Nope.
No?
No.
Wow.
But I do know this. Our buddy Lee Emmons has got a contest going on for who's got the best looking rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're running out of time here. Wuzzup this week, folks. Thanks for watching.
See how much excitement there is in Lincoln
I
County?
know.
I mean, when you can have a contest on who's got the most beautiful rock, then
we got it all going on here in Lincoln County. Okay, Bobby, before we say goodbye, we want to remind everybody to stay tuned because we're going bird. We're going falcon.
Best half hour of the week. You're going to get to see a guy who actually has pet falcons and utilizes them. And so anyway, check this out. So we're filming down at the studio today. Mike was able to make contact with Larry Barnes. Larry grew up in Wiscasset, and Larry is a falconer, and he's one of 10 falconers in the state of Maine.
From early youth, he's a falconer.
And he knew that when he was a kid that he was infatuated with birds of prey, right, Larry?
That's correct.
And so anyway, you don't name the bird, right? So tell the people exactly what you do with the bird.
Well, initially, what I do with the bird is I hunt ducks in the coastal marshes in the coast of Maine. And
that is not Larry's thumb, by the way. That's a piece of quail.
If it was his thumb, he wouldn't be a falconer for long.
Right. He would be the Novocaine king because he's not flinching. So tell us about how you duck hunt with
when
these.
you say you hunt in the coastal plains, or in the marshes, there must not be water there because you told us earlier that you got to chase down the duck after the falcon has brought it down.
Well,
Or do you swim after a few of them?
Well, I wear hip boots. Hopefully I don't have to swim. The old falconry is very habitat specific. I have to hunt to fly a falcon in Maine, you need open area. And the only open area in Maine that holds ducks are the saltwater marshes along the coast. I hunt primarily Phippsburg, Georgetown, I do hunt in Wiscasset in the Montswig Marsh. But once you have that open area, the ducks come up into the guzzles to feed. So I'm hunting the tide, typically before and after low tide. So when the ducks are up in these guzzles feeding, they're down below the top of the marsh, and there's very little water in those guzzles while I'm hunting them. And that's how I can cross these guzzles to be able to get to the bird. And what I'm trying to do is to force the duck to fly over land.
Indigestion?
Because a falcon won't take a duck over water. Water is safety for a duck,
Right.
and when they know, once the falcon is in the air, they know that, and they're going to stay in the water, they're not going to move. But when I come up to the side of the ditch and surprise them, I then become a greater threat than the falcon, and then the chase is on.
Yeah, I see. But I've seen eagles take ducks over water.
Yeah, well, eagles are my nemesis in the marsh. The eagles are hunting the ducks in the marsh at the same time I am, and she's been almost killed by an eagle
Yeah, I
probably
imagine.
a half a dozen times.
Yeah, I imagine.
So-
How do they,
Pretty indiscriminate.
when they take the duck in midair, they're taking it with their talons,
That's
correct?
what she does. She'll either bind to it with her talons, or she'll strike it with her talons and do a flyby after she hits the duck. And when she hits the duck, it'll knock the duck out of the air. She'll pitch up, and then she'll come back and grab the duck on the ground. Otherwise, she'll literally bind to the duck in the air, and she'll ride that duck to the ground. That's when I run over to her to hopefully she will control the duck long enough for me to dispatch the duck.
They're a little, it's a little smaller than I thought.
Oh, you just didn't, that's a big bird there, Bobby. for a
She's about
falcon.
about 2 pounds. I fly her. I monitor her weight.
She'd give you a whoop in the head, you'd feel it.
Yeah, it would not. It would be painful. For
And,
sure.
and tell the folks why what the name of this type of falcon and why you chose this type of falcon for here, for Wiscasset.
All the way from Washington.
Right. This is a Peale's peregrine falcon. There are 3 subspecies of peregrine falcon in North America. The Peale's is native to the Pacific Northwest, and it's also the largest of the 19 subspecies of peregrine in the world. So where I'm here in Maine, I'm trying to find a bird that's big enough and strong enough to hunt the ducks that I'm asking her to hunt, and also a bird that's from a very similar environment to what I hunt in. So falconry is truly matching predator to prey and the environment all at the same time.
Environment.
Now, falconing is not, someone like Kit can't just fly out to Spokane and get himself a falcon. What kind of credentials do you need for that?
Because falcons, or all birds, are protected by the Migratory Bird Treaty Act.
Right.
It is the most heavily regulated field sport there is. So to actually become a falconer, first of all, you need a Maine hunting license and hopefully a strong hunting background. Then you will have to go through an apprenticeship, and that involves finding a sponsor, a general or master class falconer, who is willing to take you on as an apprentice for a minimum of at least 2 years.
And you said there are only 10 of them in Maine.
Right.
Who took you on, Larry?
My sponsor was Scott Keniston from Winterport, Maine, a very experienced falconer with over 30 years of experience. And I had to go and spend a year hanging around, going and seeing what these guys were doing, and prove myself worthy before anyone was willing to take me on. I was very fortunate to have Scott with his experience. He was a great guidance to start with, and he's become a very good friend since.
That's right.
Now, are there
Spend that much time with
organized,
him. Yeah.
are there organized competitions?
No,
where
it's
just a strict private hobby?
well, I only disagree in the terminology of competition. It's not a competition, but we do have field meets. We have a field meet for hunting ducks with falcons, and we also have a hare meet to hunt snowshoe hare with hawks. So the Maine Falconry and Raptor Conservancy does have 2 organized meets every year. And then there are also regional and national.
Where's the horseshoe rabbit? I didn't even know they had them in Maine.
Well, yeah, snowshoe hare,
Canada.
very few around here. I actually hunted snowshoe hare when I was an apprentice, not more than a half a mile from here. And but the hare meet is held in the Bangor region, and then the The duck meet is held in southern Maine around Scarborough Marsh area.
Tell us a little bit about the hood, Larry, because that's a prominent part of this sport.
A hood is a wonderful...
Art.
All right.
Yeah, the hood is a wonderful tool. Oftentimes, people's first reaction is that it's, you know, it's a negative thing to hood something, but actually it's quite the opposite. You can literally take all the stress away from the bird and just by simply hooding her. And she wants to be a part of the program here, and she's thinking I'm going to put the hood back on. That's why she's being a little noisy.
Well, they're very eye-oriented.
Absolutely.
I mean, everything they do is what they see.
But hood making is an art. This hood is made by a friend of mine, Ray Gilbertson, out in Billings, Montana. And
What's it made of? You told me earlier.
this is
That's
made
not
out of
clear.
kangaroo leather, because kangaroo leather is very tough. It's very lightweight. It's far better than cowhide or any other type of leather. And what's interesting about these hoods is they are made specifically for the species and the sex of the species to have that perfect fit. So it's comfortable on the bird, and it eliminates all the light. So it totally calms the bird down. You can actually see in the demeanor of the bird, as soon as the hood goes on,
Yeah, it
they're
quiets
very
down,
relaxed.
quiets down.
Yeah.
How long does
Well, you mentioned sex, always a hot subject in
Yeah.
the program. The females are generally larger, aren't they?
That's correct. Birds, generally all birds of prey have what's called reverse sexual dimorphism. And what that means is the females are typically 1/3 larger than the males. That's why you need to have a hood specifically made for a female or a male.
Yeah,
And that's
okay.
true basically with all birds of prey.
And which make the better hunters? Is there an aggression type of that?
Actually, the males, which is called the tiercel, after the
Tiercel,
French
right.
word tiercy, which means 1/3.
And that doesn't matter whether it's a hawk or a falcon, it's still a tiercel, right?
That's correct. That's correct. In the around Shakespeare's time, the
Yeah.
English, they would only call the peregrine the falcon, and the male peregrine the tiercel. But in modern day falconry, the term is
Right,
used very broadly.
Which has been going on for hundreds of years.
Oh,
Fel-
thousands of years.
Thousands of
Yeah,
years.
yeah. And these are always going to be wild animals. My relationship with her is built on trust only. You know, man has had a 4,000-year-old relationship with birds of prey, and they have never been domesticated. They never will be domesticated.
How old is the bird when you get the bird?
You can either take a bird as a nestling, very young, as a downy. That would be called an IS imprint, and that's the proverbial ugly duckling story. A bird taken at that age believes that it's a human. There are benefits, advantages, and disadvantages to taking a bird at that age. I prefer what's called a passage bird, and that's a bird who is ready to fledge, leave the nest, essentially fully grown. It's been raised by
So it
its
has been
parents.
parented then.
It knows that it's a peregrine.
How long does it take so it doesn't fly away?
The first part of the training is very controlled. It's called manning, and that's where you start building that relationship of trust. You basically take her out once a day. You're monitoring her weight. You're slowly reducing her weight, and you're offering food. So then soon the association of spending time with you is positive because it's a time to
you
eat.
get fed.
And exactly. And also, when she spends more and more time on the fish, she comes to realize that I am no longer a threat. And then throughout the course of training, it's all about positive reinforcement with that food. So the food comes out when you want to reinforce the proper behavior that you're trying to train the bird.
Do you feed it right after it makes a kill?
Absolutely.
Right.
Not only is the chase and the catch a positive reinforcement, but you absolutely back that up with a food reinforcement.
I would think so.
Her feeding regime is tied to her hunting regime every day during hunting season. So when she's hungry, she's motivated to chase, and if she's unsuccessful, then she gets her daily allowance of food. And then I monitor that. Typically, I give her a large food reward when she's successful, and that'll increase her weight, so she won't be ready to hunt again for a couple of days. But that's a good positive reinforcement.
What percentage of her weight does she eat, given the availability of the food?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm very I really don't weigh and monitor the weight. Basically, what I'll do is give her a whole quail, and then I know that's going to satiate her enough to a point where it's going to be 48 hours before she's down
Before
to weight
she's-
again.
Or even has
But
an inclination to hunt again.
Right, but it has a lot to do with the weather in Maine in the winter. The colder it is, the more calories she needs
Wouldn't
to
you like
take.
to see? Wouldn't you like to see the whole process?
Well, yeah, you
Wouldn't it be
mentioned
neat?
season. Is there a season when it's preferable to hunt with her? Or?
Well, I have to abide by the regular duck hunting season
Okay.
that's given to the gun hunters. I typically start around the middle of November because that's when the northern birds, the maritime black ducks, move down into the saltwater
marshes.
estuaries
Yeah.
here in the mid-coast. And I'll start then, I'll hunt through the gun season, and then the Maine Falconry and Raptor Conservancy asked the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Service to allocate the additional days that the federal government allows to hunt ducks as a special falconry season.
Is it dangerous?
Sort of like a bow season.
So we have a special falconry season that runs for 2 months longer than the
Right.
regular gun
It
season.
could be dangerous. I mean,
Well, of course
are
it
you-
is. I was
with
thinking
during
I
gun
would-
season,
Yeah,
could she
I
get
wouldn't wanna be
shot?
out there.
Oh, absolutely. There have been bird shot, but I was very proactive, and I joined the local sporting association when I first started hunting,
Yeah.
just so they knew who I was,
Right.
what I was doing, because where I hunt 2 small river systems separated by Morse Mountain. And she could easily fly over Morse Mountain and go and dive some duck hunters' tollers. And just to prevent any possibility of an accident, I decided I would go and introduce myself and
right.
let them know what I was doing.
Does the bird stay in your house? Is he right in the home with you?
No, actually, in Maine, law requires that you build both indoor and outdoor facilities, which have to be inspected by a Maine state biologist before you can actually get your license. So her routine is she has an outside, what's called a weathering yard. It's a 12 by 12 by 8 screened-in area with a perch in the middle of it, and she spends her days out there. She has a bath pan for water and for taking a bath. Typically, I'll pick her up at night, feed her, hood her, and put her in the mew, which is the inside chamber, primarily for her peace of mind. There are a lot of predators around, and I don't want to have to expose her to that stress by being outside at night when the coyotes and the fox and bobcat are around. And I live in the woods, so, and the owls, you know, it's just...
What about exercise, routine exercise? Does the bird need exercise?
Okay.
Yes, she does. What her exercise regime is this. In the fall, right now she's going through a molt, and I give her all the food she wants to get through the molt over the summer. When she completes her molt around the middle of October, I start to reduce her weight, and I actually fly her to a food reward suspended on a kite string. And so I force her to fly up to 1,000 feet for that food reward daily to get her in shape.
You can get a kite up to 1,000 feet?
Or a weather balloon, depending
yeah.
on the
Okay.
weather. If I have enough wind, I'll use the kite.
That's cool.
If it's calm, I use a weather balloon. And that conditioning gets her in shape.
I knew there was some trick to it.
Yeah.
When she's molting, can she still fly?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. then
Absolutely.
it's okay.
She does. Typically, she only drops a couple of feathers at a time. They come in and replace themselves. If you can see, I don't know if she's going to allow me to do it, but she's got 3 new primaries in. They're more on the back of her wing there.
Okay.
And then these front ones will molt over the course of the summer.
Pop off.
And as you can see, you have to respect her personal space.
I can see that.
She's not. There's not a
No problem with me
touchy-feely.
there.
Yeah.
And that
Touchy-feely
beak looks a
animal.
little sharp.
Just looking at those talons is enough for me to stay right here.
The feet are what you have to be wary
More-
of,
more,
because she
yeah.
will grab you. And what's interesting about a peregrine is the tendons in her that actuate her toes run through a ribbed sheath. And when she locks down, she literally can't let go until she wants to. I mean, it locks down so, and the
Yeah.
more you resist, the more she'll lock down.
Doesn't
So if she
sound at
grabs
all
you,
pleasant.
you just have to wait.
No, I thought the birds that nest in the skyscrapers in New York City were peregrines, but you corrected me on that.
Well,
Well,
some
there
do.
may very well be
There are some
peregrines.
peregrines in cities, but
That's
they're not common.
right. Their nesting habitat are ridges, a high ledge cliff or something like that. So they've adapted to human environments. but there's actually a higher mortality rate in youngsters that are born on buildings or bridges as opposed to a natural environment of a cliff ledge.
Can they live in the wild here?
There's more peregrines in Maine now than the pre-DDT.
How did they get here? Were they?
They were native to North America before man came
They were
to-
thinned out by DD2, just like the
Exactly.
eagles and the ospreys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And North American falconers were instrumental in the reintroduction of the peregrine falcon. I mean, the peregrine falcon is probably the greatest success story for a non-game species, basically because of Tom Cade, professor emeritus at Cornell University, who
Cornell
started
Bird Lab there. Yeah.
Peregrine Fund. And the Peregrine Fund is still an active organization today, working to preserve birds of prey all around the world.
Can you give us an estimate of how well they see? Some example?
Well, they see very differently than we do. They have both monocular vision with one eye, and that's pretty much at a 40-degree angle to either side of straight ahead, and that's actually their best vision. And then up close, they'll use binocular vision, which we use,
Yeah.
2 eyes focusing on one spot. One thing that was really interesting about some recent...
So let's hold it for a second. They can look at 2 different things at once?
Yeah, they monocular.
It's kind of hard to imagine, isn't
If
it?
you- if
You
you-
have trouble with just one. I know.
I know that.
But pay attention to birds. You'll see them kind of cock their head.
Yeah.
So he
And
can
that's
look,
exactly what
at
they're
a
doing.
duck with this eye and a fox with this eye, you're telling me?
They see and they understand things far quicker than we do. It's estimated that in a fraction of a second, they take in their entire environment and they know and understand what's out there. And that makes sense if you're trying to survive in the wild. Whereas we will look at something, focus on it, and then decide what we're looking at. So they see very different. Also, you guys are old enough to remember the old, to go to the movie theaters, and when the projector would slow down, you'd start to see the frame go by, frame by frame.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's called flicker fusion frequency. Now we see it.
FFF.
That's right. We see it at around 24 frames per second. It's estimated that they see it more like 75 or 80 frames per second. So they can see and comprehend things much better, much quicker than we can.
Is this the only bird you own, Larry?
No, I have 2 actually.
2.
I have a hybrid, Gyrfalcon peregrine hybrid. Her mother was a Peel's peregrine like this one, and her father was a black Gyrfalcon.
You're saying they're related to the parrot, too.
Yes, recent
Which is
genome
interesting.
studies have found out that true falcons are more closely related to parrots than they are to true hawks, which is what most people see, the red-tails or the broad-winged hawks that are typically perched on a telephone wire next to the road.
Yeah. And
Well,
they say
anything else you
they
need
say
to know about?
that kestrels don't make good falcons. And
Actually, the kestrel and the red-tail are the only 2 birds that an apprentice is allowed to use. Kestrels can make wonderful little hunting falcons, but what you're hunting are typically starlings or English house sparrows,
Yeah.
which is kind of neat because those 2 birds are introduced
They are.
and they are not protected by the Migratory Bird Treaty
That's
Act.
good, and there are a
so
lot
they're-
of them.
That's right, and it's an open season. And I just recently read an article of a young man down in Florida who has a male or tiercel kestrel, took over 1,000 starlings in a season. So that's truly great sport and a good example of what the potential of that little falcon.
So in the wild, before these birds became extinct, the sparrow would have been their food of choice, or?
Yep. The peregrine, it hunts primarily mid-sized birds. You know, it would be unusual, although while I've been duck hunting, I've had wild peregrines chasing the same ducks that I'm hunting. It would be unusual for a wild peregrine to hunt large birds like ducks regularly. They're primarily small to medium-sized birds.
Now Larry goes
No,
into
the wild ones don't have you coming up with your hip boots to take care
right.
of the otter.
Larry goes into schools, right, Larry?
I do. I
Yeah.
do a lot of outreach education.
wonderful.
I go to schools and sporting groups.
Well, it's you need to know anything else about
Well, it's,
falcons?
it's pretty fascinating to
Yeah.
me. I'm kind of a bird guy.
Right. Well, I want to thank you for your time, and the bird certainly is well behaved.
Yeah, say
I
that.
was dreading this, had visions of falcon all over my. But
Well, that's why I use her, and she's done, 50 talks. So she's very used to
Okay.
people, and
Is there any particular colors you'd be likely to take offense to, like Bobby's hat?
No, if it was a bright red hat, she might like it.
I almost
because
wore a
I
red
was
hat.
thinking, yeah.
But it's faded, so I think Bobby's safe.
Right. Well, anyway, what I'd like to do someday is, we'll keep in touch, is go see the bird actually.
In action, wouldn't that be
Boy,
wonderful?
That would be
fun?
beautiful.
You're more than welcome
Yeah,
to join
in
me in the field.
Pittsburgh, or sometimes in Wiscasset, Georgetown area.
Yep, come New Year's, after Christmas, New Year's, give me a call.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy
Okay,
to
I'd
take
love
you
to
guys
see
out.
it. I'd love to see it. All right. Thanks, Larry,
You're
for your
very welcome.
time.
My pleasure.
Pick a warm day, Bobby. Yeah, it's cold in those marshes.
You ready to get hooded?
Oh, we should watch the hooding process.
You got to have good teeth to do this.
Come on. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Nope. Come on now.
Hey, I'm on camera, man.
You gotta get that piece of quail off of it.
Now, come on, we heard you like this. Now, don't give us this stuff.
She doesn't want the show to be over. That's
Yeah,
all.
I think that's what it is, a real hand.
No, she likes the spotlight. She really does.